Howdy folks, Tyler with MicGraphics here. In this video, I'm going to go over how to select a specific area to highlight based on counties, states, or countries. In this particular case, I'm going to make a selection of counties to focus on. You can also use this same method to contain fills to either the selected area or apply the same method to containing fills to a state. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and get started by making a selection of some counties, and I'm going to highlight them. To begin, I'm going to select the counties layer here. If you were making a selection of states or countries, of course you would want to select that applicable layer. To begin, I have the counties layer selected. I'm going to use the magic wand tool here to select multiple counties. In order to select multiple counties, you're going to want to hold shift on your keyboard. Again, make sure you have the proper layers selected, and just again hold shift and click inside of each county. Or again, if you're doing states or countries, select inside of each different state or country. So for this example, I'm just going to do this group of counties in Northern California along the Southern Oregon border. Now that I have the counties selected that I want to have selected, I'm going to expand the selection here to include the actual county borders here. And in order to do that, you just go up to Select, Modify, Expand. Generally, for counties in MG Maps Conas High Res, 2 pixels seems to do the trick. But if you're expanding larger or thicker boundaries, sometimes 3 or even 4 pixels might work. But the way to see if you have the right number of pixels set when you hit OK, just make sure it selects the actual counties or states you're selecting inside of, and you're not going too far outside of the selected area. This looks good to me. I'm going to apply this selection to the counties in order to no longer show the counties outside of this area, and it's pretty simple. All you gotta do is just make sure again you have the right layers selected and hit this little kind of hole punch icon down there. That's going to make a layer mask based on the selection we just made. And we're still not done with that selection. We're going to need to use it again. So I'm going to hold Control on my keyboard and click on the thumbnail here next to counties or whatever layer it is you have masked with your selected region. Going to collapse the boundaries. I'm going to make a new folder down here, make a new layer inside of it. And now I'm going to darken the area outside of my selected area. So with the same selection selected, I'm going to right click inside of it and click on Select Inverse. And now in this new layer, we can just rename this. So with the exterior selected, I'm just going to make sure I have black. I'm just going to hit Control Backspace, making sure you have your new layer selected in order to create this kind of darkening focus effect. I'm going to hit Control D to deselect because I no longer need that selection right this second. And now because I'm creating a map with a coastal area, I don't necessarily need the ocean to be black as well because I kind of just want to focus the land. So I'm going to head down here to ocean, and I'm going to Control click on the icon of either of these ocean layers down here because they're isolated. So I can use this selection of the sea and hit delete on my darkening selection here, and now that'll delete all the spillover fill in the ocean, and now it's only focused on land. So I can enter a different value opacity up here to create however much focusing effect I want. And one other thing we can do to create further highlight or focus on the selected area, we can go back to our boundaries and again hold Control and click on the county selection here, make another new layer. I'm going to click the little kind of reverse arrow down here on the color swath, and I'm going to hit Control Backspace to fill with white color now. And I'm going to open the layer style panel of the new inside layer. I'm just going to add an inner glow, set the blend mode to maybe overlay, soft light, or color dodge usually works pretty well. This is mostly to kind of draw the eye into the selected region here. And sometimes if you notice some imperfections with the selection outside, you can see here sometimes the darkening effect and the inside effect kind of don't quite line up perfectly with the boundaries you've selected inside of. In order to fix that, Assuming your border lines are black, you can enable stroke here to kind of help mask or hide that slight imperfection of the selected area. A few pixels should do the trick, and now you can't really see any of those kind of imperfections that were generally like a pixel wide, if that. And it kind of also thickens the boundary inside the selected area you've made. So that's the basics on how to create a selected area or a focus area. Now, to use this selection to contain your fills, it's pretty easy. You're just going to want to select the inside selection we made earlier. And because I know that there were some slight imperfections with the selected area, it looked like I may have gone overboard about a pixel. So I'm going to contract this selection by just one. And because generally you may be using multiple layers to create your forecast fills, I'm going to create another new group. I'm going to apply this selection of the inside of the forecast area to this group itself by, again, using the selection and clicking the little hole punch icon down here to apply the selection as a layer mask to the group. So now, create a new layer in there. So now when you create fills inside of this group, the fills will be contained to the forecast area. So for example, if I paint some forecast color in here, you can see exactly what I'm talking about. So now the fills are contained to the selected area we made. And this same process can apply to states, countries, etc. So if you want to contain fills to a state, you could just select the state and do this whole same process. Or if you don't want to focus on the state, you don't have to do these two kind of steps down here that darken the exterior area and kind of create a highlight inside the selected area. And that way, every time you create your fills that you don't want outside of your forecast state, they will stay contained to the state. And you can kind of just ignore the dedicated map fills group down here that's focused on the land. Or you can delete it outright if you plan to solely create your forecast fills inside of the selected area we just made. And a few extra steps you can do too to further your focus area or help further draw eyes to the focus area would be to use this same selection on other map elements such as roads and whatnot, which is pretty easy. I just control clicked on the mask selection up here we made for the counties, and I'm just going to apply that to entire groups here. So I can do that to the roads. We can apply it to the terrain overlay as well. While we're doing this, might as well apply it to the lakes and rivers, or no, rather, I'm going to keep lakes outside, but the rivers I will contain to the selected area. You can see these little things kind of continue to add further and further focus inside the forecast area here. Yeah, that should pretty much do it for this tutorial. Now you know how to create a focus area based on selections of counties, states, countries, etc. You can use that same method to contain fills to either the selected region or just a single state.